My name is Leo Vance. It was almost midnight, and I was still on the couch, waiting for my girlfriend to come home. Hey, suddenly, a new friend request popped up on my phone. The guy's profile picture was identical to mine. Hey, I'm you from the future. A new message appeared just as I was processing the first one. Seriously? Give me a break. I tossed the phone onto the cushion beside me, annoyed. The stress from work must be getting to me. Before the screen could go dark, a flood of new messages poured in. You've forgotten, haven't you? The scar on your left hand is from when you knocked over the stove as a kid. 3rd grade. You asked Megan Smith from the other class to be your girlfriend and got rejected. Your love letter ended up posted on the main bulletin board by the school entrance. And when you were 13, trying to hide your allowance, you fell into an open manhole behind the house. Also, the first time you ever watched a dirty movie was. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You don't have any money, so what could I possibly want from you, right? Staring at the stream of messages, my composure started to crack. Jesus, this guy had perfectly anticipated every single one of my thoughts. Could it be? Is this person really me from the future? I know what's on your mind, but I'm telling you now, the next winning Powerball numbers are 0, 8, 17. If you don't believe me, buy a ticket and see for yourself. I did play the lottery now and then a couple of bucks on a ticket. My luck was terrible. I'd never won anything significant. Looking at the numbers he sent, I skeptically opened the lottery app on my phone and bought a $2 ticket with his numbers. It was only $2. What'd I have to lose? 10 minutes later, congratulations, you're a winner. I shook my head at the confirmation message, a self-deprecating smirk on my face. Just a coincidence. But then, he sent another set of winning numbers. And another. I tried a few more times with the numbers he provided. My meager savings account balance exploded, turning into an asset worth tens of millions. All right, no need to continue this little game. I know you only trust me about 70, 80%. Another message came through. Your girlfriend's name is Chloe, and she'll be knocking on your door in 7 minutes. She'll reek of alcohol and tell you she's late because she had to entertain a client. Then, she's going to start a huge fight with you over a limited edition handbag. I fell silent, staring at the message. I had no idea who this person on the other end was, or what their motive could be. My girlfriend's name was Chloe, that was true. But Chloe never touched alcohol. She worked in customer service. Her job didn't involve schmoozing clients. And a limited edition handbag. I had just bought her a new wallet last Wednesday. Why would she need a new one already? That last purchase was the reason I was so broke right now. Well, whatever the truth was, I'd find out in a few minutes. 6 minutes and 59 seconds later, a knock echoed from the front door. The moment I pulled it open, Chloe stumbled into my chest, the smell of liquor washing over me. Leo, honey, it's me. Seeing her drunk like this, my stomach dropped. He was right again. Remembering the rest of the prediction, a heavy feeling settled in my chest. You never drink, I said, helping her to the bedroom and carefully taking off her shoes. What happened tonight? Why so much? I thought your department rarely has outings. Chloe waved her hand dismissively, her words slurring. It was those damn clients. They insisted all the girls from customer service drink with them. So messed up. Entertaining clients. I was surprised. Your department has to entertain clients now? The moment I said it, Chloe shot up from a bed, her face contorted with anger. What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying I'm messing around out there? Fine. You want the truth. I'm sleeping with someone else. Are you happy now? Seeing my silence, Chloe's tone softened slightly. I'm sorry, baby. I was just on edge. It was really all Tiffany's fault, showing off her new limited edition handbag to everyone. The more I listened, the more it didn't add up. This wasn't about any clients. It was a company happy hour, and the root of it all was that damn handbag. Normally, I would have gritted my teeth and just bought it for her. But tonight, I just wasn't in the mood. Maybe my silence provoked her again. She flung her arm out, and her brand new iPhone slammed against the wall. So you're just going to ignore me now. Is that it? You think I'm a gold digger, don't you? With that, she shoved me out of the bedroom and slammed the door, the lock clicking shut. Before I could even try to talk to her, my phone buzzed again. See, you believe me now, right? I'm not trying to trick you. In 2 weeks, the stock market is going to experience the biggest crash in its history. I'm here to give you a chance to make a name for yourself, to make a few $100 million. My heart pounded at those last words. A few $100 million. I'd never imagined I could possess that kind of wealth. To prepare for the market, I poured all my lottery winnings into a brokerage account. I even sold my house and my car. I was all in, leveraging everything I had to maximize my position. I funneled every last cent I could liquidate into the market. Chloe and I were in a cold war the entire time. I started to wonder if the rumors at the office were true, if she really was just a gold digger. 2 weeks flew by. In that short time, I'd scraped together $20 million and invested it all. After executing the final trade, I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Could this all be real? After all, there hadn't been a single mention in the international news of any new policies or major economic shifts. Time ticked by agonizingly slow. Doubt began to creep in. Maybe I shouldn't have trusted this guy's crazy story, but the money was in. All I could do was wait. Just as I was about to drift off to sleep, a news alert flashed across my screen. U.S. Federal Reserve announces major rate adjustment. Tech stocks surge. Reading the headline, I finally let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. The next morning, I checked my phone. Overnight, my portfolio had grown by $30 million. I clenched my right fist and punched the air. Yes. Just then, Chloe pushed the door open, leaning against the frame. Her eyes were cold as she stared at me. I'm only going to ask you this once. Are you buying me the bag or not? My mood was so good that I nodded immediately. Yes, of course. I'll buy you 10, 20, no problem. But can you just give me a few days? I've only got about $1,000 in my account right now. To make the investment, I'd left myself with just enough to live on, less than $1,000. She sneered. Leo, don't think I'm an idiot. I know you sold everything last week and dumped $20 million into the stock market. I thought you were going to make a fortune. Turns out, you don't even have $1,000 to your name. Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. I immediately tried to deny it. No, I didn't lose money. I'm just temporarily out of cash. I didn't even know how to begin to explain. Temporarily out of cash. Chloe scoffed. If I hadn't seen it myself, were you planning to keep lying to me? Stop pretending. If you can't even afford a stupid handbag, then don't act like you're some big shot. With that, she spun around and slammed the door, leaving me stunned and alone. Wait a minute. She snooped on my phone, and she had the nerve to be this self-righteous. Besides, the last time she looked was right after I invested, before I made any profit. If she saw my account balance now, she'd be clinging to my leg. A wave of exhaustion washed over me. Just trying to explain it felt impossible, let alone proving it. For years, I'd been nothing but good to her. I hadn't even slept with her. She said she wanted to save that sacred moment for our wedding day. Because of that, I had already started planning everything, hoping to propose next Valentine's Day. Honestly, her being a little materialistic wasn't a deal breaker. It was just a handbag. Was it really worth all this? But I did hide the investment from her, and I didn't want to throw away our relationship over this. After thinking it over, I decided to give in one last time. It was just a handbag. I could borrow some money and pay it back once my profits were realized. Without hesitating, I opened my phone and sent a message to Liam. Liam, you there? Liam wasn't just my closest colleague. He was my best friend from college. For years, he'd been by my side, grinding it out with me. Yeah, what's up? Liam replied almost instantly. Got an emergency. Need to borrow 30 grand. Chloe's got her eye on this handbag, and my cash is tied up right now. I'll pay you back with interest in 2 weeks. I had no idea how much the bag cost, but I figured $30,000 would be more than enough. I'd even have some left over to take Chloe out for a nice dinner. A $30,000 loan was nothing. I could pay that back with a single paycheck. Dude, are you kidding me? $30K for a handbag. Liam texted back. You didn't knock her up, did you? Trying to get some cash together for a shotgun wedding? I didn't know how to explain, so I just told him the truth. No, baby. I invested all my money in a project. I've got less than $1,000 to my name right now. Seriously, no liquid cash. That's why I'm hitting you up. I sent him screenshots of the sale of my car and house. I even sent a few transfer records from my brokerage account. But after I sent the images, Liam went silent. The chat window just showed, typing. After a long pause, a single sentence appeared. Sorry, man. I'm buying a house right now. A little short on the down payment. Can't help you out. Reading that message felt like getting punched in the gut. He was buying a house. He'd been saving up for years. His plan was always to build a 2-story house back in his hometown. He even had the architectural style picked out. A cynical thought crept into my mind. Did Liam really think I was bankrupt and couldn't even pay back 30 grand? I could hardly believe that years of friendship meant so little, that there wasn't even that much trust between us. 4. Before I had a chance to explain, Liam sent another message. Bro, you don't have to question our friendship. If I really had the cash, of course I'd lend it to you. He even added a winking emoji. Looking at that emoji for a second, I thought of a line from an old comedy sketch. It was nauseating on a whole new level. What the hell was wrong with Liam? If I had no intention of paying him back, I'd be begging everyone I knew. But I wasn't broke. My supposed bankruptcy was a story he'd completely made up in his own head. I couldn't take it anymore. I fired back a message. Liam, I came to you because I thought we were friends for all these years. I never thought you'd treat me like this. It seemed I had hit a nerve. He immediately launched into a tirade. Leo, if you're going to be like that, then this is pointless. I was trying to be nice, but you just had to push it, didn't you? You're broker than a joke. What right do you have to ask me for that much money? I used to look up to you as a big brother, but now you're broke and still trying to act all high and mighty with me. It was clear Liam was done pretending. A chill ran down my spine. I remembered when we both started at the company. His salary was lower than mine, and his family was going through a tough time. He was so depressed he was talking about jumping off a building. Without a second thought, I transferred $50,000 to him and paid his rent for 6 months. He told me then that I was the brother he'd always look up to, that no matter what happened, he'd always have my back. As for the money, he'd pay me back as soon as he could. At the time, I never even considered whether he'd be able to repay it. But now, what had happened to him? Liam, fine. I see who you really are now. As soon as I sent the message, a notification popped up. Message failed. He had blocked me. I felt a bitter laugh escape my lips. Someone once said that the true test of a friendship is borrowing money. I always thought Liam would be my brother for life. It turns out I was dead wrong. Giving up on Liam, I decided to try a different approach. I sent out a mass message to my old college classmates, asking to borrow a little from each of them. The total would be enough. But as the replies, or lack thereof, came in, I was left speechless. I had never encountered someone like Liam. The second I called him out, he started telling everyone I was bankrupt. He even made a meme in our alumni Facebook group. It was a picture of me with the caption, Leo Vance is broke. Don't lend him money. I stared at it, completely dumbfounded. I wasn't broke. I was about to be a multi-millionaire. Just then, my phone buzzed with a series of notifications. It was the company's Slack. 2, 3, I opened it and saw a long message from Liam in the general channel. Liam Miller, Engineering. I hear PSA everyone. Leo Vance from sales lost everything day trading and had to sell his house and car. Now he's hitting everyone up for money. We all work hard for our paychecks, so don't get scammed by him. I have screenshots to prove it. I would never falsely accuse a good person. He then posted all the screenshots I had sent him in private. 5. The channel exploded instantly. What's going on? Leo Vance from sales. Doesn't he make like 6 figures a month? I knew it. I heard from some college friends that Leo went bankrupt and was scamming people for money. I didn't believe it, but it must be true. Liam Miller, Engineering. I'm telling you, he's probably cooking up some new excuse right now. Don't fall for it, people. It's true, I can prove it. Immediately, a screenshot of my private message to another colleague appeared. The difference was, I had only asked him for $1,000. Oh my God, he's trying to scam people for $1,000. Is Leo that desperate? Wait, I looked at their ugly accusations, and for a moment, I didn't know how to respond. Just then, Liam posted again. Liam Miller, Engineering, at Channel Admin. Can someone please remove this scammer from the group? I immediately started typing a reply to explain myself. Before I could finish, a system message appeared in the chat box. You have been removed from the channel. I was speechless. If you don't want to lend me money, fine. But did you have to blow it up like this, spreading rumors that I'm bankrupt? I'm not bankrupt. Thinking back on their comments in the chat, I couldn't help but laugh a bitter, angry sound. Just as I was sinking into a pit of despair, a violent banging sound came from my front door. Bang! I looked up to see Chloe, her face a mask of fury. Chloe, I asked confused. Without a word, she hurled the designer bag she was carrying at me. I ducked just in time. It would have taken out an eye. Well, Leo, you've really outdone yourself. Chloe stood with her hands on her hips, her eyes like ice. You're bankrupt, and you are hiding it from me. You're going to beg other people for money just to buy me a stupid bag. A loser like you. What are you even doing alive? Why don't you just go die? Hearing her words, it dawned on me. Chloe worked at the same company. She must have seen the messages on Slack and came here to unleash her rage. Looking at her murderous expression, I felt a strange sense of numbness. She hears a rumor that I'm broke, and her first reaction is to curse at me and tell me to die. She even threw something at me. Is this really how people are? After the series of betrayals, I felt an unexpected calm wash over me. You think I'm bankrupt too? I asked, my voice even. She laughed. A cold, cruel sound. Too? You really think those stocks of yours were going to make you rich? Now you have to borrow money just to buy a cheap bag. Do you really think you have any chance of making a comeback? We're breaking up. This is over. Faced with this complete change in Chloe, a wave of sadness washed over me. I never thought a person could be so shameless. And I was actually planning a future with her. I, Chloe Davis, have wasted my time with you, and I'm writing it off as a bad investment, she sneered. Get out. Get out of my apartment right now. She pointed a finger at the door. Being told to leave by her was a sharp pain in my chest. In the time we were together, I had paid for everything. Now, in her eyes, I was bankrupt and she wanted to break up and throw me out. Was there not even a shred of decency left? If that's how she wanted to play it, then there was no need for me to be polite. I pulled the lease agreement from the desk drawer. I agree, let's break up. But I rented this apartment. I paid the rent. The lease is in my name. If anyone's leaving, it should be you 6. She had pushed things this far. There was no point in holding on to any sentiment. Every extra word would just be proof of my own stupidity. Chloe was furious. She grabbed a stuffed animal from the couch and threw it at me. Fine, Leo, you win. She spun around and started packing her things. I, on the other hand, lay back down on the bed. My apartment was sold. If I left, I had nowhere to go. Compared to dealing with a gold digger, my own housing situation was a far more pressing concern. In less than half an hour, Chloe was standing at the door with her suitcase. Leo, I'm telling you, you can stop dreaming. You think you're going to be rich in 2 weeks? In 2 weeks, your pathetic little fantasy is going to come crashing down. With that, she threw her key on the floor, muttered a few curses, and slammed the door behind her. Staring at the empty living room, a flicker of sadness passed through me. But thinking back, my relationship with Chloe had been a bit of a farce. A year ago, I was promoted to sales manager for my outstanding performance. I was just one step away from the director position. That's when Chloe started bringing me breakfast and lunch every day. I never really dated in high school, so when a woman as beautiful as Chloe gave me that much attention, I fell for it fast. Even though Chloe never let me touch her, I just thought she was being pure and old-fashioned. I respected her wishes. All of this made me overlook one crucial fact. In our entire relationship, Chloe had never spent a single dime on me. Even the gifts she gave me were things I had paid for myself. And for the past week, Chloe had been coming home late every night drunk. Although I had no concrete proof, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was just a placeholder, a backup plan. Well, it's over now. So be it. I let out a resigned sigh. Wrecking my future for a woman like that would be worthless. I sat on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through my phone. Suddenly, a message caught my eye. Hey, me from 2 weeks ago. How does the breakup feel? The message left me speechless. Then, another notification popped up that made my heart skip a beat. Your bank account has received a transfer from David Chun. Current balance, $87.09. The $709 were mine, but the extra $80,000. Did David lend it to me? Whatever you're going through, it'll pass. Just as I saw the transfer notification, a message from David came through. My relationship with David wasn't particularly close. 2 years ago, he told me he was in a tight spot and needed to borrow $3,000. I sent it to him without a second thought. After he paid me back, we barely spoke. A wave of emotion washed over me. In my time of need, my supposed best friend, Liam, treated me like dirt, while David, a casual acquaintance, offered his unconditional help. Even though I explained multiple times that I didn't need the money anymore, David insisted I keep it until I was back on my feet, telling me to just pay back the principal when I could. I couldn't argue with him, so I just told him I'd pay him back in 2 weeks with interest. He finally relented. Just then, another message from my future self arrived. Stop getting emotional. I have something important to tell you. Tomorrow morning, Ava Sterling will call you into her office. Whatever she says, don't hesitate. Agree to it on the spot. I was completely baffled. Ava Sterling? Wasn't she the stone-cold CEO of the entire corporation? The prodigy who took the company public at such a young age? She wants to see me? The next morning, as soon as I walked into the office, I could feel all eyes on me. The story from yesterday had clearly spread throughout the entire company. Even Todd Fisher, the director of sales, had removed me from all company-related work groups. I couldn't care less what these people thought. Just as I was about to settle in my desk, my phone rang. It was the CEO's assistant. Hello, Leo Vance. The CEO would like to see you. Holy crap. He was right again. With a sense of dread, I knocked on the door of the executive office. Come in. A captivating voice came from inside. However, the moment I pushed the door open, I was met with a scene that left me utterly stunned. A pair of long, flawless legs, free of their stockings, were casually propped up on the side of the massive desk. Perhaps hearing me enter, Ava Sterling quickly pulled her legs back onto the desk. Wow, I couldn't help but be impressed. This was the infamous Ice Queen CEO. For years, she hadn't dated anyone. Countless people in the company speculated about her preferences. Some even whispered she might be gay. But today, she called me in here to show me this. I couldn't figure out if it was intentional or accidental. Just then, Ava glanced up at me nonchalantly before her eyes returned to the documents in front of her. Have a seat. Her voice was perfectly level, betraying no emotion. I found a chair and sat down directly across from her. I regretted it almost immediately. A faint, pleasant scent of perfume drifted towards me. Her stunningly beautiful face was right there. Despite her busy schedule, she managed to look so impeccably put together. Watching the intense focus in her eyes as she worked, my heart skipped a beat. Who said only men look most attractive when they're focused on work? A focused woman was just as mesmerizing. Damn it, I found I couldn't even meet her gaze. Without looking up, Ava asked, Mr. Vance, I hear from people in the company that you've gone bankrupt. She paused her work and tilted her head slightly to look at me. I was confused. I asked back, Ms. Sterling, did you call me in here just for this? Yes, Ava nodded. It's nearing the end of the year, and gossip tends to fly around. As the CEO, it's my duty to address these rumors. However, that's not the only reason for today. Even though she said that, I was still puzzled. I was just a sales manager. Even if I was well known, it didn't seem like a minor bankruptcy rumor would warrant a personal meeting with the CEO. Ava and I were classmates in college. I was even lucky enough to be her dance partner at a social event once. But I knew we were worlds apart. Upon graduation, I was hoping to find a company with good prospects. She, on the other hand, followed her family's wishes and started a company with phenomenal prospects. By a twist of fate, we ended up working together again. Only this time, she was no longer my dance partner, but the high and mighty CEO. I was just an ordinary employee. Thankfully, I didn't let it get to me. I worked hard every day. We had spoken a few times over the past 3 years, but it was always about work reports. Could it be that recent events had damaged the company's reputation and Ava was planning to fire me? That seemed a bit extreme. Losing my patience, I asked directly, Ms. Sterling, what is it you want from me? Please be direct. Ava didn't back down. She looked up. I should be the one asking you. Are you really bankrupt? Not at all. I just bought some stock. The funds haven't been liquidated yet. I shrugged helplessly. As for the rumors in the company, they're completely baseless. I was getting annoyed. What does this have to do with my job? Perhaps sensing my irritation, a flicker of an unreadable emotion crossed Ava's eyes. She said softly, Leo, we were college classmates, after all. Why are you so defensive with me? Ava put down her work and leaned back in her chair, her body relaxing. Her tone suddenly became much more casual. I'm your boss. If I didn't believe you, why would I keep you at the company? I was taken aback. She wasn't going to fire me. Then what did this woman want? I decided to stay quiet. I could just sit here and appreciate the view. No loss for me. Actually, I called you in today to ask for a favor. Her sudden change of pace caught me completely off guard. The company is facing a major challenge, she said, her expression turning serious. To solve it, we need to completely restructure our personnel. Otherwise, the hidden networks of cronyism will do everything in their power to prevent our company from adapting. Restructure. I was confused. Ava patiently explained. Since its founding, the company has never undergone a major personnel shakeup. On the surface, everything looks peaceful, but internally, it's rotting from the inside out. I want to use this opportunity to clean house, and I need your help, Ava said, crossing her legs and looking at me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Miss Sterling, honestly, I don't understand. Why would you entrust such a critical task to me? Ava's heart skipped a beat, but she maintained a composed smile. What's so strange about it? We're alumni, aren't we? What kind of an explanation was that? My gut told me this woman was definitely not telling the whole truth. Without thinking, I retorted, you were college classmates with Liam Miller too. Why not ask him? Ava seemed about to say, I had a lot of classmates. I don't know all of them. But what came out of her mouth was, he's not bankrupt. Why would I ask him? All right then. I was officially out of things to say. Seeing my defeat, Ava quickly put on her usual CEO persona. So, are you going to help me or not? Don't forget, we've known each other for years. I was at my wit's end. I could only nod. Fine, I'll help you. A satisfied smile spread across Ava's face. She immediately laid out her entire plan for me. After hearing it, I couldn't help but marvel silently. This was the woman who had sat in the CEO's chair for so long for a reason. Her methods were sharp and efficient. It looked like some people in the company were about to have a very bad time. Ava's first step was for me to pretend to take an unpaid leave of absence and be placed under internal investigation. The reason for this was to let all the cronies and their connections get cocky and expose themselves. After we had settled all the details, Ava suddenly looked up at me with a surprised expression. By the way, are you really out of money? I shrugged playfully. What? Are you going to give me a bonus? Using company funds for personal matters is against company policy, Ava said with a serious face. But if you're really short on cash, I can lend you $200,000 personally. I never realized what a great, beautiful boss I had. Looking at her, I suddenly found her quite endearing. But a friend of mine already lent me some money. It's enough. Ava nodded matter-of-factly, then lifted her head and asked, the bankruptcy is fake, but the breakup with your girlfriend should be real, right? For a split second, I felt like the way Ava was looking at me was off. Could she be into me? But I quickly dismissed the thought. Who was Ava Sterling? The #1 beauty and CEO of the company. And me, I was just an average-looking sales manager. The gap between us was enormous. Besides, we had known each other for nearly 9 years. If anything was going to happen, it probably would have happened already. I gave a wry smile and joked, thank you for your concern, Miss Sterling. Now, shouldn't you let a freshly heartbroken man go home and recover? Ava played along with a dismissive wave. Go on, pack your things and get out. Why? Thank you so much, I said sarcastically. The moment I opened the door to the CEO's office, I found countless pairs of eyes staring at me. But as soon as my gaze met theirs, they would quickly look down and pretend to be working. Seeing this, I was even more certain. Ava was right. The company had serious internal problems. As soon as I got back to my desk, an email from HR popped up on my computer. Sales manager Leo Vance, placed on unpaid leave, effective immediately, pending investigation. I couldn't help but feel a little exasperated. This woman moved incredibly fast. I had literally just gotten back to my desk. It seemed like this was all planned out long ago. But how was she so sure I would agree to help her? Whatever, it was all an act. I might as well come back tomorrow to clear out my desk. I was just about to head home when a familiar figure blocked my path. The director of procurement, Todd Fisher. With Liam's limited resources as an engineer, he couldn't have possibly stirred up this much trouble on his own. The real person pulling the strings behind the scenes was most likely him. Well, if it isn't the company's top salesman, Mr. Vance, he sneered. What's the matter? Light day at work? Heading home early? Looking at his smug face, I felt a wave of disgust. This jerk was clearly here to gloat. I feigned anger and slammed my hand on the desk. Todd, I'm telling you, I'm not bankrupt. Whoa, look at you, all worked up, Todd said, feigning innocence. Then tell me, how did things get to this point? How should I know? Some son of a bitch must have reported me for borrowing money, and now the company's internal affairs department is all over me. I might even lose my job over this. My thinly veiled insult made Todd's face turn pale. Perhaps because he thought I was about to be fired anyway. He didn't say a word, just turned and walked away. Seeing him get shot down like that, the others just sat at their desks and watched me leave the company. To avoid a bigger crowd, I took the fire escape. At least that way, I get fewer strange looks. Let the rumors spread. Let them fester. But just as I reached the fire escape landing, I heard a familiar voice from inside. Chloe, Leo is completely finished. The company is about to fire him. Look at me, on the other hand. I helped Mr. Fisher out with this big favor. My career is about to take off. The assistant director position is definitely mine. I really like you. The person you should be considering now is me. Hearing the familiar voice of my good friend Liam, I felt a surge of nausea. Liam had pursued Chloe before, but she had rejected him flat out. I thought he had given up long ago. I never imagined he was the secret simp all along. Consider you? Chloe's cold laugh echoed in the stairwell. What do you think you are now? Just an assistant director. Just because you like me, I should consider you. I like Elon Musk. You think he's going to give me a chance? It's working hours. If there's nothing else, I'm going back. If you really want to pursue me, try improving yourself first. With that, Chloe turned to leave. In front of a low-class suck-up like him, she didn't even bother to pretend. No way. I couldn't just let this pair of scumbags walk away. I took a step forward and kicked the fire door open with a loud clang. Chloe and Liam looked as if they had been caught in the act, their faces a mixture of shock and panic. Liam, I never would have guessed, I said, a smirk playing on my lips. You've been after my girlfriend this whole time. Seeing my mocking expression, Liam's face turned uglier than if he'd eaten crap. He glared at me and yelled, You're full of it. Leo, I'm telling you, Chloe is not your girlfriend anymore. And I also know, this whole time, you never even touched her. I shot back with a cold laugh, not missing a beat. Touch her? If I touched her, I'd feel like I was dirtying my own body. My vicious words finally made Chloe snap. She flew into a rage, pointing a finger at me and screaming, Leo, are you even a man? You went bankrupt and didn't even tell me. Were you planning to hide it from me forever and make me pay off your debts with you? A loser like you deserves to be fired. Chloe was on the verge of hysteria. Normally, saying something like that to a girl would be crossing a line. But for someone like Chloe, I couldn't be bothered with my last shred of decency. Chloe, for that stupid handbag, the things you called other people. You should know in your heart what I'm talking about, right? I took out my phone and played a video. In the video, Chloe, with her shoulder partially exposed, was snuggled up next to a man in his 40s, calling him daddy over and over. The man was constantly groping her, and Chloe didn't resist at all. In fact, she even undid a few buttons on her blouse. I paused the video there. I had no desire to watch the rest of the disgusting footage. A hacker friend of mine had gotten it for me. Leo, ignoring Chloe's shriek, I simply said, I wish you two happiness. Leo, you just wait. My life is going to be so much better than yours. Anything is better than being with a loser like you. I didn't bother listening to the rest. I turned and walked away, heading home. The first thing I did when I got home was check the latest currency exchange rates on my phone. According to the information from my future self, the time to sell was just a few days away. For the next few days, no one from the company contacted me. It wasn't hard to guess that most of them had probably blocked me. As I was staring at my contacts, wondering who to message, a familiar profile picture caught my eye. It was a selfie with no makeup. The picture was of Ava Sterling's pure, beautiful face. It wasn't the first time I'd seen that face. I had seen it plenty of times back in college. Yes, I had a crush on her, but because of the vast difference in our social status, I never dared to talk to her. I opened our chat history. The last message was from 6 months ago. Happy New Year, Ms. Sterling. Happy New Year, Mr. Vance. For the past 6 months, we had maintained the most basic employee-boss distance. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 11:20 p.m. After hesitating for a long time, I finally typed out a message and sent it. Ms. Sterling, how is your plan progressing? After sending it, I was about to put my phone face down. But just as I locked the screen, a notification sound chimed. Pretty well. Just a few more days, and we can close the net. Ava's instant reply caught me completely by surprise. My heart skipped a beat, but I quickly typed back. Glad to hear it's going smoothly. I started to regret my message. Ava was the company's ice queen. She was always concise and to the point, leaving no room for small talk. I locked my phone, burrowed under the covers, and tried to sleep. Just then, another message from Ava came through. It's a good thing I had you this time. Huh? I was a bit stunned. Was this the same Ava I knew? Actually, I didn't really do much. I replied, going bankrupt at just the right time. And you say it's not your contribution? The mention of bankruptcy left me speechless. I really am not bankrupt, okay? That's just a wild rumor. You didn't explain, so of course the rumor spread. But it's a good thing. Through this, you got to see the true colors of the people around you. I was surprised. Ava seemed to know everything that had happened to me. As a CEO, was she disinvested in all her employees? Just then, she sent another message. Have you gotten over the breakup? When can you come back to work? I've saved a director position for you. Winky face. The promotion didn't surprise me. It was clear that most of the people Ava was getting rid of were senior management. But looking at that winky face at the end, I hesitated. Did Ava always talk like this? I didn't think so. Or was something off about her tonight? Seeing that I hadn't replied, Ava sent another message. Annual salary of $3 million, bonuses separate. The company will provide you with a car and an apartment. You can pick whatever you want, no price limit. You'll have the rights to use them for 2 years, and after that, they're yours. Staring at the benefits package Ava sent, I was taken aback. To be honest, the offer was incredible. Unfortunately, for someone who was about to be worth hundreds of millions, it was no longer tempting. I jokingly replied, Ms. Sterling, if this offer gets out, people will think you have a thing for me. I admit, the joke was a bit much, but I had been thinking about quitting. It was just that this whole situation came up, and I couldn't bring it up. If I left at this point, wouldn't it just confirm those jerks' rumors? However, Ava's reply came back quickly. So what if I do have a thing for you? We're both single. Reading the message, I was completely stunned. She was definitely not acting normal. I checked the stocks you bought. If everything goes as planned, you should be worth over $100 million after this, right? This message didn't surprise me. Liam had posted my screenshots for everyone to see. With Ava's abilities, it wouldn't be hard for her to predict my returns. So, just because you're rich now, you're going to abandon your long-suffering wife, abandon the boss who's been with you through thick and thin. Me? Huh? This message, the more I read it, the weirder it sounded. Especially when long-suffering wife and me were put together. How could I not feel a strong urge to connect the two? Miss Sterling, that sounds a lot like you're harassing your subordinate. Then what about you messaging your female boss in the middle of the night? Isn't that a form of harassing your superior? Staring at Ava's message, I was speechless. Has this girl always been this quick-witted? I didn't dare to continue the conversation. After hesitating for nearly half an hour, I finally decided to switch to avoidance mode and change the subject. Miss Sterling, about the work matters. I'll come find you to discuss them in person when I'm back at the office. I typed out the sentence and let out a sigh of relief. But the other side replied instantly. Okay, now I was suspicious. Was Ava just sitting there with nothing to do, waiting to reply to my messages? I shook my head, dismissing the thought. I couldn't afford to mess with this woman. It's getting late, Miss Sterling. You should get some rest. Night-night. Night-night. Looking at Ava's message, I didn't dare to think any further. I quickly pulled the covers over my head and tried to sleep. On the other end, Ava put down her phone, a meaningful smile playing on her lips. A week passed by quickly. Early this morning, I received a message from my future self. He told me to sell all my stocks at noon. I watched the clock, and at the exact moment, I hit the liquidate all button. Sure enough, the moment I sold was the absolute peak for that stock. I immediately checked my account balance. For a moment, I felt like my whole body was buzzing. Over $600 million. An initial investment of just over $20 million had exploded into $600 million in just 2 weeks. What an unbelievable return. Even after half an hour, I was still rubbing my eyes, hardly believing it. With information from the future, making money was this easy. Suddenly, the gap between me and Ava felt much smaller. A wealthy heiress like her would have to fight and scheme with relatives just to inherit such a massive fortune. But me? Wait! While was I thinking about Ava again, I put my phone down. Now, all that was left was to wait. By tomorrow, all the funds should be in my account. Since I had sold my house and car for the initial investment, now that I had the money, I planned to pick out something nice for myself. Just as I was planning how to tell Ava about my decision to leave, a message from her came through. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., the Azure Fin Restaurant. Call me when you get there. I have something very important to tell you. Before I could reply, Ava sent a location pin. I opened it and was shocked. A meal at the Azure Fin cost over $2,000 per person. With my current wealth, it was no problem. But before, I had to pay rent and cover all of Chloe's expenses. At that time, a restaurant of this caliber was an unaffordable luxury. I quickly replied with a confirmation. Soon, another message came through. By the way, you've already liquidated your stocks, right? I paused for a moment, then replied, truthfully, yes. Good. Then you're buying dinner tomorrow. I almost spat out the water I was drinking. So that's what this was about? I quickly replied, Ms. Sterling, you're the boss, right? Since when does the employee treat the boss? What's wrong? A multimillionaire treating a defenseless woman like me to dinner. Is there a problem with that? Defenseless woman? I shook my head helplessly. This Ava was getting more and more ridiculous. Did she have some kind of misunderstanding of those two words? For a moment, I started to worry. If I ever ended up with a wife with this kind of personality, would I even survive? The next day, 8:30 p.m. On the way to the Azure Fin, I stared at the time on my phone, my heart racing. I should have been early, but the bus I was on got into an accident, and I was stuck in traffic for over 40 minutes. By now, Ava had probably been waiting for a while. When the bus finally reached my stop, I sprinted towards the restaurant. At the entrance, a host greeted me with a friendly smile. Good evening, sir. Do you have a reservation? Yes. Under Sterling. Hearing the name Sterling, the host's eyes lit up. Ah, you must be Ms. Sterling's guest. This way, please. He made a gesture for me to follow. I realized instantly, Ava was a top-tier VIP here. She hosted most of the company's major clients at this restaurant. Following the host, I walked towards the back of the restaurant. Along the way, I was completely stunned by the decor. It was luxurious but not gaudy. Just as I was admiring the artistic ambience, the host stopped and said, Sir, this is the room. Thank you, I said with a polite smile. The host, understanding, quickly excused himself without lingering. Just as I was about to knock on the door of the private room, a familiar voice came from not far away. Well, if it isn't Leo Vance, the sales manager. Oh, that's right, you've been fired. What? A bankrupt ex-employee can afford to eat here. I looked over and saw Chloe and Todd Fisher, the lovely couple. I scoffed. I thought that guy Liam would have had a chance to win over the gold digger Chloe, but it turned out Todd had beaten him to it. One was my ex-girlfriend. The other was the person who kicked me out of the company's group chat. Now that the news of my suspension was out, he didn't even bother to pretend anymore. I had no goodwill towards either of them. Does it have anything to do with you? I replied, my face grim. Seeing my expression, Chloe, who was holding on to Todd's arm, hesitated for a moment but didn't let go. It has nothing to do with us, but the prices here are not cheap. Don't end up unable to pay the bill and then try to borrow money from us. Todd laughed out loud. How boring. I couldn't be bothered to look at them anymore. Seeing that they weren't leaving, I shot them an interested glance. You're not leaving. Are you waiting to pay my bill for me? We didn't say that. I'm just curious. Which poor sucker did you trick into treating you to a meal at a place like this? Just then, the door to the private room suddenly opened. Ava's stunning face appeared, a hint of confusion in her eyes. Today, she was wearing a playful, princess-style dress. Her makeup was no longer the professional look she wore at the office, but a sweeter style, more suited for a date. Paired with the bracelet on her wrist, she had a unique, charming playfulness about her. Although she looked sweet, the powerful aura in her eyes was undiminished. In reality, she had heard the argument at the door from the beginning. It was only because the voices sounded familiar that Ava decided to open the door and see what was going on. Ms. Sterling, seeing that it was Ava who had emerged, Todd's arrogant demeanor vanished instantly. He even started to stutter. A sycophant like him naturally had an inexplicable fear of his superiors. Chloe was also momentarily stunned. She was just a low-level employee at the company. She rarely had the chance to even speak to a goddess like Ava. Now, standing in front of her, she could feel acutely how she fell short of Ava in every aspect, from her figure to her looks. Chloe quickly snapped back to reality and gave Ava a slight smile. Good evening, Miss Sterling. By now, Chloe and Todd had unlinked their arms and even put some distance between them. I was still standing there, dazed. In the past few years, I had seen Ava a few times. Each time, she had a cold, distant demeanor. But today, She had completely changed her style. Didn't she say she had something important to discuss? This didn't look like business at all. This looked like a date. Or was showing me her new look the important matter? Are all rich people this eccentric? Seeing the other two, Ava was also clearly surprised. But soon, her expression returned to its usual icy calm. Her gaze fell on Chloe. She knew she was my ex-girlfriend. Then, she glanced at Todd, who was standing by, too afraid to make a sound. Are you two having dinner here as well? Her light, airy question instantly put immense pressure on Todd. He quickly stammered, No, we just came for the first time. Just happened to run into each other. We've already finished eating. Miss Sterling, please enjoy your meal. We won't disturb you. With that, he gave Ava a slight bow, turned, and fled. Chloe, left alone, quickly curtsied and added, Miss Sterling, I hope you have a wonderful dinner. Then she also turned to leave. Although it was only a few minutes, the pressure from Ava was overwhelming. Chloe felt her breath quicken. But after walking a few steps, Chloe couldn't resist. She turned her head to look back at the private room, just in time to see Ava and me enter together. How could he? Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. Todd, not wanting to linger a moment longer, grabbed her arm and pulled her away. Inside the private room, Ava looked at me with a smile, teasing, So, what's it like to run into your ex-girlfriend while you're out with another woman? I couldn't help but sigh. Come on, Miss Sterling. Isn't it a bit much to keep teasing me like this? I wasn't really angry. I'm not teasing. I just wanted to. Ava paused, her eyes darting away for a moment before she continued. Ask if you've gotten over the shadow of your breakup. Miss Sterling, please don't mention the breakup again. Besides, it wasn't really a breakup. Not a breakup. It was just a mistake. I was blind before and didn't see the truth. I see. I don't know if it was my imagination, but after I said that, I saw a flash of joy in Ava's eyes. Ava signaled to the waiter at the door, who then began to bring in the pre-ordered dishes. Then, Ava gave me a brief update on the company situation. Most of the high-level troublemakers had been rooted out. However, after years of corrosion, these parasites had left the company with only a superficial gloss of success. To truly revive the company, they needed to acquire a piece of land with high profit potential. If they couldn't, they would need to partner with a promising company or shareholder to recuperate. Otherwise, the company's survival was at stake. Fortunately, Ava was decisive. In just a few days, she had already formulated a new strategic direction and had her eye on a piece of land with good potential. After hearing all this, I nodded lightly. As expected of Ava, she was swift and resolute in her actions. Just then, Ava suddenly looked up and stared at me seriously. Leo, are you sure you don't want to reconsider staying with the company and helping me get through this tough time? To be honest, Ava had been good to me. Even when the entire company didn't believe me, she never doubted me for a second. But I still let out a helpless sigh. I'm sorry, Miss Sterling. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have definitely said yes. But now, I want to take some time for myself and think about what I want to do in the future. At my response, an undisguised look of disappointment flashed in Ava's eyes. She nodded lightly. All right then. Ava quickly put on a mysterious smile again. She winked at me, and at the same time, slid over to sit right next to me. The moment she sat down, a blush spread across her face. She quickly looked down and took a deep breath. This familiar scene made my heart skip a beat. This wasn't the first time we had been this close. Back in college, at the freshman dance, we were assigned as last-minute partners. She was just like this back then. We rehearsed countless times for that performance. We had embraced closely countless times, just to perfect that ballroom dance. There was a move where we held hands and spun. Every time our hands touched, I could still remember the electric feeling that shot through my fingertips. She was as shy then as she is today. I quickly shook my head, trying not to overthink it. Miss Sterling, before I could finish, Ava spoke up. Now that you're worth hundreds of millions, have you thought about how you're going to spend it? Hearing the change of topic, I felt a sense of relief. I nodded. I plan to buy a car first, then a house. As for the rest, I'll figure it out slowly. A car. Have you seen anything you like? Ava's beautiful eyes lit up with interest. A few days ago, she had asked a friend to order a limited edition Porsche for her. It wasn't that she had to have that car, but she had fallen in love with the interior design. Now, for Leo, Buying that car should be easy. Perhaps she could. Actually, I'm not too picky about cars. As long as it's comfortable and has good performance. And the interior is important. I answered truthfully. Before, I wouldn't have cared about these things. But now, I felt that a car should reflect a certain status. After all, in some situations, you can't just rely on yourself. What do you think of this car? I picked it, Ava said excitedly, taking out her phone. The moment she unlocked the screen, I almost had a nosebleed. It was a photo of Ava from a professional shoot. In the picture, she was wearing only a thin, white gauze-like robe. Whoa! Even her lock screen was this provocative. Ava's face turned a little red, but she still opened the photo gallery and started showing me. Look, what do you think of this car? The moment I took the phone, I caught a whiff of her faint, pleasant scent. It was different from the perfume other girls wore. Her scent was lighter, yet more intriguing. I glanced at the pictures briefly and nodded. It's a great car. Great car, right? Then I'll sell it to you. It's settled. Huh. I suddenly felt like I was being railroaded. I've already paid for the car. When it arrives, just give me $5 million. Don't worry, it's a great deal. Actually, Ava had bought the car for a little over $4.8 million. But since I had plenty of money, she didn't bother with the exact amount and just rounded it up. To be honest, I hadn't planned on buying such an expensive car. But considering my new net worth, I figured my car should at least be on the same level as Ava's. Besides, $5 million was a drop in the bucket for me. I agreed without much thought. Ava immediately broke into a smile and nudged me lightly with her shoulder. See, that's a real tycoon for you. Hitting the jackpot really changes a person. You don't even hesitate when buying a car. But that gentle nudge sent my heart racing like a wild deer. The feeling of our skin touching made me gulp. Looking at Ava, she was casually walking back to her seat, phone in hand, completely unfazed by what had just happened. By the way, the car is settled. But what about a house? Ava's question made my heart pound. Miss Sterling, you're not planning to sell me a house now, are you? I said with a wry smile. What are you thinking? I don't have that many things to sell you. Ava rolled her eyes at me. It's one of our company's properties. A few years ago, I bought a stalled construction project. I thought it would just be a small profit, but recently, the area was rezoned as a prime school district, and the property value is about to skyrocket. Seeing my hesitation, Ava added fuel to the fire. You see, if you had agreed to stay with the company, it would have been so much better. Employees get priority purchasing rights. Such a great property with such a great view. It would be a real shame to miss out on it. TSK, TSK, TSK. I nodded lightly. It was true. The location was excellent. It was far from the hustle and bustle of the city center, yet well connected by public transport and close to a lake. Originally, it was rumored to be the site of a new top-tier school, and the developer had seized the opportunity to build the most luxurious high-end residential complex in the city. But then, the school district plan was canceled. Coupled with the company's financial collapse, it became the city's largest unfinished construction project. Fortunately, Ava was bold. She ignored everyone's objections and bought the land, investing a huge sum to redevelop it, determined to make it the most high-end residential area in the city again. And as luck would have it, the school district plan, which had been just an empty promise before, was now being implemented. There were fewer than 500 units available in this first phase. If you didn't fight for it, you wouldn't get one. Ms. Sterling, I'll go take a look when I have time. Ava nodded. Call me when you go. I'm planning to buy the unit next to yours. My eyes widened. Just then, Ava handed me her phone again. How about this one? Thinking it would be a floor plan, I was once again left speechless by the photo on her phone. In the picture, she was wearing a camisole, leaning against a glass window for a selfie. Her slightly tipsy eyes and messy bangs gave off a strong, alluring vibe. Come on, if you want me, just say it. You keep doing this. I really can't handle it. It's great, I stammered, quickly looking away. This one it is, then. Ava skillfully took back her phone and changed her wallpaper. I quickly started drinking my water, not daring to look at her directly again. By the time Ava had arranged for my car and house, the last dish she had ordered was served. All right, let's eat. And this meal is on the company. It's my treat to you, my great contributor. Don't you dare fight me on it. She even raised a small, pink fist. I shook my head helplessly. Does this girl not look in a mirror? That's a classic bully's fist pump. After dinner, Ava asked, How are you getting home? I could give you a ride. No, it's fine. I'll just get a cab. I replied. You're right. It would be trouble if you tricked me into coming upstairs with you. Huh? My eyes widened again. You tricking me upstairs. It's you who's trying to trick me upstairs. Just kidding. With that, Ava tossed her hair, turned, and got in her car. She didn't forget to shout back at me. Don't forget to come to work next Wednesday. As the director, you have to report to my office. If you're late, you'll get your salary docked, you know. With that, she stepped on the gas and drove off. Watching her car disappear, I was lost in thought. Was this what Ava was really like in private? When I got home, I immediately took out my phone and did a quick calculation of my current assets. $670,850,000. With this much money, I could definitely start planning my next move. After thinking for a long time, I sent a message to my future self. Future me, the first pot of gold is in. What's next? Soon, my future self replied. 2 days from now, there's an online auction. Use $590 million to buy lot number 07. 3 days after that, the city will announce a new commercial development plan for the area around that land. You'll at least double your money on this one. Double. That would be over $1 billion, but just having the land wasn't enough. I didn't know how to develop it, and I didn't have a team to handle it. I couldn't just buy a piece of land and plant vegetables on it, could I? Just then, my future self sent another message. After you win the auction, go to Ava Sterling for a partnership. She'll help you maximize your profits. And if you go to her, you'll get a big surprise. You know, Winky Face 17, what big surprise. Just as I was about to ask, my future self cut off the conversation. All right, I've got to go get ready for dinner with my wife. Huh, dinner with my wife? I was still a single old bachelor. How did I get a wife in just a couple of weeks? This was a whirlwind romance. I ran through every girl I knew in my head. Suddenly, a stunningly beautiful face froze in my mind. Ava Sterling? I quickly shook my head. Why would she be interested in me for my money? Unless she liked me from the beginning, right? Unless she liked me from the beginning. That didn't seem very likely either. I gave up guessing. In 2 weeks, everything would be revealed anyway. I sent a message to David Shun, preparing to pay him back. Bro, send me your account number. I'll wire you the money. However, David's reply shocked me. Just transfer me $3,000. The rest of the money, Ms. Sterling asked me to lend to you in my name. I wasn't supposed to tell you, but back when I was in a tough spot, I did something against the company. Ms. Sterling still trusted me so much. I'm too ashamed to face her now. You can give the money back to her yourself. The message left me at a loss. The money was from Ava. When she came to see me that day, she had pretended to be so calm, asking if I was short on cash. It was obvious she had already calculated that I wouldn't accept her money directly. This Ava really was. Actually, I could guess what kind of trouble Ava was about to face. By firing all the senior management in such a short period, she had surely made enemies of them. Although they were parasites, they knew the company's situation. A simple deduction would tell them that Ava would go all out in the next land auction. They would then seize the opportunity to deliberately drive up the prices. This way, Ava would likely lose the bid. These land auctions were held only once a year. If she couldn't acquire new land, it meant Ava wouldn't make any profit for a whole year. Then, they would join forces with the board of directors to fire her. The new CEO, in order to stabilize the company, would naturally rehire these parasites at a high price. What a brilliant move. I couldn't help but be impressed. Unfortunately for them, they had never counted on the existence of a multimillionaire like me. This time, by helping Ava, I was also helping myself. After all, doubling $590 million was no small sum. If Ava joined me, she would also make a huge profit. 2 days later, the online auction. In this auction, we could bid anonymously. The first few lots were quickly snapped up. Soon, it was time for lot number 06. The moment this piece of land was announced, everyone in the city knew its value. It was located in the absolute core of the city's central district. Whoever won this bid was guaranteed to make a fortune. Quickly, the bidding price soared from $80 million to $850 million. I couldn't help but shake my head. These developers were truly insane. During the bidding, Ava placed a few bids, but the price was too high, so she gave up. Next up was lot number 07, the one my future self told me I had to buy. Good evening, everyone. This next lot is a key piece of land in our city. We will be announcing a few favorable conditions before the auction to stimulate demand. The first policy is that we are planning to designate this area as a key school district. In the coming years, the graduation rates here will have more allocated spots. The auctioneer was full of passion, but the people watching on their computer screens were all shaking their heads and laughing, frantically typing sarcastic comments in the public chat. This piece of land was located in a relatively remote area of the city. It was practically the suburbs. Everyone agreed that if this place could be designated a key school district, then pigs could fly. But I thought differently. 18-inch the second favorable policy. I didn't bother listening to the auctioneer's introduction. I just closed my eyes and waited for the bidding to start. Perhaps because no one had high expectations for this piece of land, not many people were competing with me. Easily, I won the bid. With that done, I let out a huge sigh of relief. Not just because of the so-called surprise I would get from Ava, but also because my net worth was about to double again. I still had a few tens of millions left in my account. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to live on for a while. Now, I had to figure out how to approach Ava about a partnership. Late at night, unable to come up with a solution, I went to a food truck downstairs to grab some tacos. Just as I finished eating and was about to head home, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of me. Ms. Sterling. Hearing her name, Ava opened her slightly tipsy eyes and looked at me with confusion. Leo, what are you doing eating around here? Perhaps because it was after hours, Ava wasn't dressed up. She was just wearing a simple t-shirt and shorts, her hair tied up in a fresh ponytail. I couldn't help but be amazed. This woman, she didn't get drunk at home and then wander out and get lost, did she? Couldn't sleep, came down for a late-night snack. Want some, Ms. Sterling? Ava waved her hand. I was out with a few girlfriends, had a little to drink. Although there was a hint of surprise in her eyes when she saw me, she had now returned to her usual composure. I felt a bit awkward. Chatting in this kind of setting was a little strange. By the way, have you been drinking? Ava blinked, looking at me. No. The moment I said it, I regretted it. Sure enough, a triumphant smile appeared on Ava's face. She pulled a Maserati key fob from her pocket and tossed it to me. Good. Mr. Director, be a dear and drive me home. Perhaps afraid I would refuse, she added, It's not that I can't afford an Uber. I'm just concerned for my safety. Look at me, so beautiful, so delicate, so. I couldn't listen to any more. I quickly raised my hand to stop her. All right, I'll drive you. But in my mind, 1,000 wild horses were stampeding. I was really starting to wonder. Was the Ava in front of me the same? Ava I had always known. Why did I get the feeling she was a chameleon-like madwoman? Ava suddenly glanced at my phone screen. I had been looking at a Mercedes. Her brow immediately furrowed. What? You're planning to buy a car? She stepped forward, her nose almost touching mine. What about my car? Are you not going to buy it? Without waiting for me to explain, Ava put her hands on her hips, pouted, and looked at me. Leo, you're a man. You have to keep your promises. Seeing that Ava was about to lose control again, I quickly explained, I'm not buying a car for myself. I'm helping my dad pick one out. He's been wanting a new car for a while. Besides, I already promised you, so of course I'll buy it. In your eyes, am I that untrustworthy? I gave her a what do you think? Look, I thought Ava would explain herself, but when I looked down, I saw her nodding her head like a bobblehead. Ms. Sterling, this is not funny anymore. I was completely defeated. How was I supposed to bring up a $590 million partnership with someone like this? All right, get in the car. With that, she stumbled ahead to lead the way. Looking at her trim figure from behind, I was momentarily dazed. To be fair, Ava's body was top-notch. It was just her brain. But, Miss Sterling, if I drive you home tonight, how do I get back? Take my car home. What about tomorrow? How will you get to work? You can pick me up. Listening to this bizarre conversation, I was more certain than ever. Ava was definitely after me. By the way, I was about to bring up the contract when Ava cut me off. Have you found a house you like? The 2,000 square foot one or the 3,000 square foot one? I was truly and utterly speechless. She wasn't leaving me any room to speak at all. Are you taking me to see houses tomorrow? Ava straightened up and blinked at me. At that moment, 1,000 more wild horses stampeded through my mind. Don't I have to go to work tomorrow? Wasn't that what you wanted, Miss CEO? Why aren't you saying anything? I didn't care anymore. I was going to get the contract, drop her off, and go home. But just as I was about to turn and get the contract, I almost collided with Ava's face as she leaned in close. I froze, my eyes wide. My God, this CEO. She was seriously off her rocker. Miss Sterling, I have a contract for you to sign. No problem. Ava, drunk, took the contract, pulled out a pen, and signed it without a second thought. You're not even going to look at it? What's there to look at? The worst that can happen is I lose everything and end up with you, Ava said nonchalantly, waving her hand. Seeing my silence, she gently patted my shoulder. Little Leo, I trust you. Actually, I've liked you ever since we danced together in college. I even gave you my number back then, but you never called me. Ava pouted. I was starting to think you weren't into girls. I had someone find out what kind of company you were looking for, so I started one just like it. A smile appeared on Ava's lips. Good thing you didn't get away. You came right to my company. But by now, my eyes were wide with shock. I knew there would be a surprise. But I never imagined it would be this kind of surprise. A confession from a CEO? But this CEO was nuts. I did like Ava, but I was very aware of the distance between us. So, after she gave me her contact information, I never bothered her again. After college, we met again. Unfortunately, the gap in our status was even greater. But, Leo, now that you have money, are you going to abandon me? Though what you're doing is right. My company doesn't have any good projects left anyway. Her words left me feeling helpless. Come on, isn't the contract that will triple your investment right in your hands? You're the one who didn't even look at it. Ms. Sterling, I clear my throat. Where are we going now? I didn't dare to continue this conversation. If we kept talking, I was seriously worried she would do something even more outrageous. The Rosewood Hotel. With that, Ava turned her head and fell asleep. I quickly started the car and followed the navigation. On the way, I sent another message to my future self. Bro, who exactly is my wife? I really couldn't take it anymore. Run. I had to run. You will spend a wonderful night with your wife there. I was helpless. Not a single one of them was reliable. Soon, the car pulled up in front of the hotel. Ms. Sterling, we're here. Take me upstairs. Ava, drunk, squinted her eyes open. Which room? 606. Huh. My eyes flew open. So, with my future wife. I quickly turned, preparing to make a run for it. But Ava instantly sobered up. Hey, little Leo, don't even think about running. You can't escape. Seeing Ava suddenly block my path, I sighed. Are you kidding me? Ice Queen, innocent girl, pure college student drunk. How many more faces does this woman have? Just then, my phone suddenly received a message from the future. Stop struggling. You can't escape. Just surrender peacefully. Bye. Your future wife, Ava Sterling. What the hell? My future self's phone had been hijacked by this future woman? And in that moment of distraction, Ava stumbled and fell into my arms. Ow. Ava frowned. She curled up into a ball and said pitifully, Hey, I'm hurt. So what? Take me upstairs. Sigh. Fine. If I can't run, then I can't run. Anyway, my phone was hacked by the future. Even if I ended up with a wife like this, it should be okay, right?